My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is September 7, 2024. It is 7:03 a.m. This is like my third recording. The last video that I just did was for our Port of View service. I have 3 tweets to share with you here, and I'm gonna put it on this channel, APTS Sussex. Before I started recording, I was looking at the analytics because things for this channel is going further down. I create membership for it. For some reason, it's not showing. I contacted YouTube. I don't know what's going on. I did all the steps. I don't want to show that tab because there's some personal information that popped up on it. I don't want to give myself work. But when I was clicking on some of the tab, let's say for revenue, and I was like, oh my God, it's going worse and worse. And I think it tells me on and the overview that I'm getting less views. And then they suggested, okay, inspiration, this tab here. So this is what will inspire me to make more videos like this to get more views and probably more money. These are the channels that YouTube is recommending me to create similar type of videos. I'm not like that. That's not me. Okay, so let me leave that alone. Let me continue with the way that I've been going. I know there's something that's going on, suppressing my channels and all of that. The squad knows I have like 4,000. How many subscribers do I have? 4,000 subscribers. At least most of them, they know I have a video every day. So YouTube is doing some stuff. It's doing its stuff. All right, so let's go on Twitter. First tweet. All right, so this I've shared on my community board regarding Cash for Honor. All right, Cash for Honor, Sade Billionaires Charity Foundation criticized. I did not read it yet, but let's see. In one of the videos I just edited, I mentioned, what is it again? Charles was, and I said, I think Charles was trying to, my opinion, okay? I didn't say that's what he's actually doing, but my opinion, was trying to frame Harry when he sent someone to donate to Harry's charity, Center Bally, and then when it's time to give Harry the money, there was some stipulation to go dine with him, and Harry was like, nope, I'm not about that. Instead, Harry warned his father and said, look, you better be careful with this guy because he's a bad actor and stuff. So this is what this reminded me of. Let's see what it is about. How long? Is it a long read? Not too much. And it looks like it's the same person. Yeah, that's the same person from that video. Okay. Cash for Honor, Sade Billionaires Charity Foundation criticized. Trustees allowed the Mafu Foundation, which backed the King's Project, to be encouragement for funds that were misused and misapplied, said Charity Commission. Okay, this thing looks a bit blurry. Okay. So I just read this. The King's Cash for Honor scandal was reignited on Thursday as a charity regulator condemned the foundation of a Saudi billionaires who secretly received a CBE from Charles. Yeah. It's the same person. It's the same person from that video that I was talking about. Alright, Scotland Yard began a criminal investigation after newspapers revealed that Michael Fawcett, who ran Charles Charities, offered to help the billionaire obtain British citizenship and a knighthood in return for donation. Mafu Marine, okay, there's his name here. I can't pronounce it properly. Alright, who made donation totaling £1.5 million to the King's Charity via his own foundation received an honorary CBE from Charles during a private ceremony at Buckingham Palace in 2016. Fawcett, 61, wrote to him the following year saying the King's Charity will contribute to the application for citizenship and apply for the CBE to be increased to a knighthood in response to the most recent anticipated purpose of the trust. This is gonna go under the rug, okay? Another nonsense that popped up. It's the same story. Okay, Mafu helped fund projects close to King's Heart, including Dumfries House and the Castle of May, both in Scotland. The Charity Commission has made a series of damning findings following an inquiry into the running of the Mahfoud Foundation. It was highly criticized of William Buttrick, who is both the editor of the Burke's Peerage Guide to the Aristocracy and an employee of Mahfoud, and the society fixer Michael Wine Parker, who introduced potential donor to Charles the King's Foundation. It wasn't too long ago, and I read where there was a charity Charles had when he was prince. As he became king, he took it along with him. Oh my God. It's to the foundation. They good money, in my humble opinion. He didn't leave it for William. And I think they changed the name. That's on top of my head. I don't remember how it went. Not too long ago, I was reading something like that. The charity regulatory discovered that Mahfoud Foundation's bank account were primarily used as a conduit to transfer funds on behalf of third parties. My God, that did not further its charitable purposes. This included deposit into the charity's bank account totally £535,000 that Dmitry Lewis, a Russian Turkmen former banker, believed were being made directly to Charles Foundation. Wow. Lewis 54 had hired V Advisors Limited, which was run by Wine Parker 78 and Vola. Okay, that's the name here. Oops, right here. 36, a Belarusian investment banker, and the interest of furthering his philanthropic effort. That's just the front. That remind me what I was reading in one of the videos that someone said. But they were talking about the same video. They were talking about the charities and if they were authentic with their work, this could have worked. And someone said, if you peel the onions, you'll see the mess that's behind it. So this is one of the mess. All right, the inquiry found that £193,730,000, which Louis believed was going to the King's Charity, was transferred to the bank account of Wine Parker's private company. Oh my God. Yeah, they stayed behind the thing and they're transferring back. Oh my God, the mess. Okay, Wine Parker, a founder trustee of the Mahfoud Foundation with no official role at the time of the payment, described the money as a commission. He forwarded £140,000 to Havoshaka, that's the name here. The inquiry also found that Fawcett and Broderick arranged for £200,000 of Lewis' donation to be transferred to another charity founded by the King, Children's in the Art, which was being wound up and needing to settle its outstanding liabilities. The regulatory oversaw the return £106,270,000 to Lewis. Angela Asquith, critical case lead at the Charity Commission, said the trustee of the Mahfoud Foundation allowed it to be misused as a conduit for funds that were misapplied and misused. Mahfoud 54 was not a controlling trustee and simply funded the charity. Fawcett, Charles' former valet, stood down as chief executive of the King's Foundation in November 2021. Scotland Yard launched an investigation into allegation of offences under the Honor Prevention of Abuses Act 1925 in February 2022. Detectives announced in August last year that they were taking no further action. Like I was saying, these go under the rug, following advice from prosecutors. But the regulators' report will fuel calls for further investigation. But this is the same guy that Harry was saying was a bad actor. Charles was trying to get him into the mix to mess up Harry's thing. Broderick, 51, was trustee of Burke's Charitable Foundation. He was found to have misapplied that charity's fund, received unauthorized personal benefit, and failed to submit accurate annual return to the regulator. The charity purchased antique furniture, paintings, and statues that did not further its purpose. Charity. Why do you need all those statues? Oh my God. They include £16,000 desks, oh my God, and bookcase that were kept at the editor's home. Both Mafu and Burke's Foundation have closed, and their remaining money is being given to charities with similar endeavors. Wine Parker and Broderick have been disqualified from being trustees or senior managers at any charities for 12 years. So after 12 years, they could come back up again. The King's Foundation is still being investigated by the Office of the Scottish Charity Regulator. A spokesman for the foundation said it has introduced a range of new and robust governance practices. Everything that Charles is part of, it's always, there's something sketchy, nonsense going in the background. So there's that here. Fixer for donation to King's Charities, banned from trustees and director roles. Okay, I don't want to read anymore. That's another archive. There's me responding to it. Meanwhile, Travelist, $3 trillion coalition. All right, let's listen to this. There's some music into it, but I'll put screenshot. Travelers, founded by Prince Harry in 2019, will be celebrating their 5-year anniversary at Climate Week, New York City. All right, let's listen to that. 48 seconds.
This is the future.
Travelers will be in New York for Climate Week, celebrating our 5th anniversary. Since we launched in 2019, we have brought together 11 of the world's biggest and often competing travel and technology brands to work together on bringing sustainable tourism to the mainstream. Today, we are a $3 trillion coalition.
All right, listen to this. $3 trillion in just 5 years. And then you have the father who's doing stupid things instead of using his brain to create something. All right.
Today, we are a $3 trillion coalition, guided by our independent advisory group of world-renowned sustainability academics and experts.
And this is what's good with Harry. He brings people in, expert things that will help his vision come to reality. But the others, they think they know it all, and then they rather bring mediocre around them to pop them up and doing stupid things. That's the difference between Harry and the left behinders.
Really looking forward to being in New York with our founder, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, to celebrate everything that we have achieved together so far and sharing our vision for what's to come next.
And then with Harry, as he does his stuff, he's bringing people along. And then it is the same model that he used when he was in the UK. And he used the same model with Invictus. He used the same model with Travelers.
As the world has changed so much, we believe that by streamlining and by bringing people together in order to effect real positive change is the only way forward. And you know, it worked for previous generations, and we will always say yes to becoming patron of a charity that we believe in and that we're incredibly passionate about. But I think in today's world, you have to be involved with things that make sense to where your passions lie, rather than potentially turning up to a charity once a year. I don't think that's necessarily beneficial to anybody. But you know, our mental health campaign, Heads Together, back in the UK, is a classic example of where we were able to bring together 8 charities within the mental health sector.
With your mic.
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna give you
No worries, thank you. We were able to bring together 8 mental health charities that have been working in the sector for many, many, many years. But being able to bring them together and say, right, you guys have never sat around a table together and discussed the main issues. What we want to be able to do now is, through our foundation, create a platform in which your expertise and your experience is elevated. And therefore, you tell us what needs to be done around mental health within the UK and globally. And they said, if you can remove the stigma, that makes our life a lot easier. So that's exactly what we did. We tried to remove the stigma and tried to normalize the discussion around mental health.
So in some ways,
The past, and that's the protocol may have been lending your name and using your name to create a halo around the organization that would benefit it. And it sounds like the younger royals are more about more than just name association, more direct action and involvement. So do you feel you're more hands-on? Is that fair to say?
I think in today's world you have to be. I think you have to be much more hands-on, and also.
Why? I mean, why do you have to be? You could have done it the same way. You could have had 200 charities and been a patron of them. I mean, no one would have thought any different.
No, but if you end up working individually for, let's say, 200 charities, in today's world, I think that kind of dilutes the impact that you can have. What our foundation is all about and what our platform is all about is encouraging people to come together, to work together, so that there's less competition within that sector, whether it's financially or otherwise, and saying, right, guys, you're doing the same thing. Please, let's get around a table, talk to each other, work it out, and come up with a long-term strategy.
But doesn't this seem obvious? Like, why haven't other people done it then? So you've created, with your brother and sister-in-law, the Royal Foundation. Okay, you've started a charity. My first question would be, do we need another charity? So, you know, what was your thinking in coming together? Whose idea was this?
So that's my motto is exactly that. Why another charity? Our foundation is not another charity. We're not trying to take up any more space. I think we all agree that the charity sector is quite full at the moment. But as I said, what we're trying to do is use our platform to be able to bring people together to affect change.
So why haven't other people done this?
Because I genuinely believe that we as a foundation will never be able to compete with some of the other big foundations financially, as weird as that may sound, but that's fact. What we do have is a unique ability to be able to put our name and everything that comes with to a really good purpose, to a really good cause. And as I said, there are many organizations out there that have never come together and that would never sit around a table and discuss the topic of which they're all involved with, but we've proven that. We've made that possible.
Just different goal, that's all. Same model, but different goals, which mean you bring different type of people with their expertise. All right, let's read some of the comments back there. Okay, royal family is in a dirty water. All right, let's pause this. Okay, he's a bloody crook through and through, but gets away with it. Charles will pay someone to take the rap. Yeah, thank God Harry got out. Exactly. All right, so let's go to the next one. This is UK politics. Oh my God, do I have to listen to these people again? All right, once you attack all hereditarism, you're basically saying all hereditarism is wrong, and so the next stage is the monarchy. This former Tory MP is frustrated and upset that removing hereditary peers is an attack on the monarchy. And she said, and all right, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Let's listen. Oops.
Hereditary peers, then it's wrong for everyone. The second thing is, once you attack the hereditary principle, then what do you say about the monarch? The monarch is hereditary.
Well, the monarch's not doing legislation to be
fair.
Well,
the monarch has to sign off. The monarch has to sign off the new prime minister. So the monarch has a role in government, even if they don't interfere on a day-to-day. So once you attack all hereditaryism, which is what you're doing, you're basically saying all hereditaryism is wrong. And so the next stage is the monarchy. And I would say, yes, it's anachronistic. Yes, it's a little wrong, but it works.
I thought you were going to be on the other side. I think
relieved.
absolutely. Rest assured,
There's
it's
only
nothing
90
to do with. Rest assured, Robert, you can relax. It's not an attack on the monarchy.
But
It's
in
just saying
principle,
there
it's
are
a
plenty
great
of
precedent.
excellent and brilliant people, and we don't have to have people who are there just by virtue of
The
who their
compromise.
father
Sorry,
is.
it's stuff full of nepo babies who turn up and get 300 quid to do naff all just because what they were
No, that's
born.
not true.
That is absolutely
There are some bad peers.
As I'm listening to this now that I'm editing it a day later, it's the same thing that Trump wants to do in the US. But the only difference is we do not have a monarchy system in the US. So they want to remove whatever role they're not saying that, but this is what I'm getting. They want to remove the monarchy in some shape or form. And then they're gonna bring in their own little group of people, the Tories, similar, like I said in some other videos, the Tories, the GOP in the US, and some group in the Middle East. These are the same group. So this is the thing that the institution did not get. They ease themselves in, be friendly with the monarch. Right now, the monarch, they can't play with the queen. So they went after the queen's child, which was, what's his name? Charles. And then they went after his son, which is William. So they're cozying up with them, so they know the ins and outs of how the institution, the firm, works. So now that they already know, who knows, they probably get them in some framing them or trying to scare them or something like that. They can't get Harry, so Harry had to get out of there. I'm laughing about it now. It's not funny because they dumbed down the system, the monarchy. The two, you know, now Charles is not the heir anymore, he's the king, and now the heir, you could see the direction the heir is going. So all in all, what Trump wants to do in the US, this is what I guess, I don't know which group who wants to do that in the UK. They want to get rid of those, you know, I don't know, people were in high power who control, like the kings and whatever. They want to get rid of it. So once they get rid of it, who they gonna have? This is where the people need to pay very close attention to who's running for certain office. That way, if they want a democracy, they could have people who stand up for them, because they're literally playing everything out in front of everybody. I don't even think I'm making sense with what I'm saying, but the way that I'm looking at that discussion now that I'm editing it, they're doing the same thing with what Trump, the GOP in the US wants to do. Get rid of the system, the group, the institution that we have here, the check and balance, this kind of thing. You have 3 branches of government, and then within those 3 branches of government, you have micro other offices checking on each other. No one has more power than the other. So they want to get rid of that, because that system works. So now the system that's in the UK, which is the king, you know, like this woman just said, he doesn't have that much power, but still they want to get rid of it, get rid of him. So the other groups, the same groups that went to the RNC, they want to take over. Oh my God, that's the way that I'm seeing it. Project 25 wants to be implemented. I mean, Trump wants to implement Project 25 into the US, and then almost the same thing that, as a matter of fact, I think the UK already have Project 25 over there. But what the Tories and all the groups, the same group as the Trumps in the US wants to do, they want to be the one who control that. Oh my God. This is crazy and scary. And this is what happened when Charles and William do not know their position. If they were firm and understand their position, these people will not have a grip of that. And if they had stood up with the people, they will have the people behind them. But since they neglect the people, they only think of themselves, that the people are hungry, they need shelter, they need food and all of that. So I'm assuming the people most likely will go for that. Get rid of the system, the current system, and then implement something else. But it's the people that's gonna run it. The UK needs to pay very close attention, because they still have a say. Is who's gonna govern. And then if you let the bad people govern, and then they will take that right away from you, and they will stay in power forever, like Trump already told us. Just these two groups is like hand in glove. You just have to watch what's going on in the US and see how they probably gonna implement it in the UK. And then the US needs to look at what's happening in the UK so it doesn't happen in the US. It's pretty much the same thing. The same group are doing the same exact thing. So I think later on in this video, I already wrote the text, but I think there's an article I'm gonna read, and I'm gonna be asking myself some question. I already recorded it, I just haven't edited it yet, but I'm gonna take you along with me as I ask myself some question, because I do not know how the system in the UK truly works. So as I was reading the tweets and articles, I was asking myself some questions, so it's gonna be very fun and crazy as well. All right, so that's it. Let's get back to the original recording.
Who may not do a lot, but my
Talking about the
experience.
hereditary peers.
There's only 90 of them.
Madness.
There's only 90 of them.
So what
and there was a very good compromise, which Blair did, which they have to elect those, to get in. So they have to be elected, these hereditary peers. But the second important thing is the House of Lords actually works. And when I was a minister, the scrutiny of the House of Lords was some of the hardest parts.
I love this. This is a great defence. So interesting. I mean,
It's so odd because you're quite a sort of, in many ways, you're quite sort of progressive and open-minded, down with the people, Robert. This is very odd.
So I'm a conservative because if it's not broken, then what
But
change
this is
it?
just
And it
they're
works.
not-
It's not broken. This is the thing, they benefit on it right now, so it's working for them. But when you look at the rest of the peasant who's suffering, don't need, they need food, shelter, and all of those basic stuff, while the royal family getting million for doing absolutely nothing. So it's working for them, but there is something wrong there. It is broken. But it's almost done, by the way.
The House of Lords, and I'd be much,
Okay, so that's that. Let me pause it. Okay, remaining hereditary peers to be kicked out of House of Lords within months. I definitely approve this. Okay, I don't know how this works in the UK. I'm just sharing it, okay? So that's why I didn't have much to say over there, with the exception of what I've known so far, which is the royal family is receiving millions and doing absolutely nothing. Okay, the remaining hereditary peers to be kicked out of House of Lords within months. I definitely approve of this. Minister for the Construction, Nick Thomas Simon, said the removal of hereditary peerage is a landmark reform. He added the hereditary principle in lawmaking has lasted for too long and is out of step with modern Britain. The second chamber plays a vital role in our constitution, and people should not be voting on our laws in parliament by an accident of birth. Okay, I sort of understand, but I'm not too familiar with this. I'm just reading it, and if I have something to say, I'll say, like typically, but I don't know how this runs or works in the UK. But conservative critics have called the move a vendetta and political vandalism. Quotes from an article from The Independent, but the article below is from the BBC. Okay, let me put this in the description for you guys. How long it is? It's not that long. So it seems like, this is what I understand without reading too much into it. It seems like there are some people in parliament are there because of their birthright. There's the seat here where Charles or the Queen used to come and open parliament. This is where they sit, back there with the golden thing back there. But what I'm seeing here, there are some people who have position in parliament because of their family, who they were born from. So it seems like they want to remove these people from the position. If you want to be there, you have to run for it, to be elected for it. It seems this is what I'm getting. Okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. Let me read this. Maybe it will explain a little bit better. I have one more tweet to share with you. Plans to get rid of the remaining hereditary peers from the House of Lords have been set out by the government, marking the biggest shake-up of Parliament in a quarter of century. Abolish the 92-seat reserve for hereditary peers. Very interesting. 92. That's pretty much. Will it be like, for instance, when new laws are gonna implemented? When in some old tweets, I will say, I read some part where the Queen will want to know what is in the law, what they're gonna vote on. She needs to see it first, and if once she look at it and they make certain changes to benefit her, or she's not part of this, or this kind of thing, will that be these people who will be doing that? But anyway, let me read. Abolishing the 92 seats reserved for hereditary peers who inherit their titles through their families was one of Labour's general election promises. Okay. The aim is to finish reforms introduced by the last Labour government, which in 1999 revoked the 700-year-old right of all hereditary peers to sit in the Lords, leaving just 92 as a compromise with the Conservative. One of the 92, a former leader of the Lords, Tory Lord Strachlit, okay, sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, condemned the move as a high-handed, shoddy political act. But if they ran on it and now they won majority of the seats, so they're gonna follow through. But let me read some more. Speaking in the Lord's Chamber, he argues it should be peers who rarely took part in debate who were removed, not hereditary ones, many of whom, he said, were very active participants and some of our most senior and experienced members. Lord Strathclyde later told Matt Corley on BBC Radio 5 Live he would be very happy for hereditary peers to leave, but only with something better in its place. That meant not having a wholly appointed house at the mercy of a prime minister's patronage, he said. Responding in the chamber, Lord Leader Baroness Smith noted that the bill had featured in Labour's manifesto and the King's Speech, which outlined the government's program of laws. She said there was nothing in the legislation to stop hereditary peers who were removed being nominated for life peerages in future. She also observed that none of the remaining hereditary peers were women. Labour has very interesting, because usually those things pass on to the next man in the family. Very interesting. Labour has also promised to introduce a retirement age of 80 for members of the Lords, but says that move will follow later after consultation. Another Conservative former cabinet minister, Lord Forsyth, described the removal of hereditary peers as a naked attempt to disable opposition in the House, because given the size of Labour's majority in the Commons, it was the only part of Parliament that will properly scrutinize legislation. Earlier Constitution Minister Nick Thomas Simon said the measure to remove hereditary peers from Parliament was a landmark reform to our Constitution. The hereditary principle in lawmaking has lasted for too long, and it's out of step with modern Britain. The second chamber plays a vital role in our Constitution, and people should not be voting on our laws in Parliament by an accident of birth. Very interesting. Okay, this bill shows the government's commitment to delivering on our manifesto and is an important part of putting politics in the service of working people. I agree with that. I mean, you could understand the others who's oppose it because they're the one who benefit from it. And now, what I see here as I'm editing it is that whoever talked into William's ear, I remember reading a comment, someone, I sort of agree with the comment, but not fully, because I've been saying almost the same thing for a very long time, that the people that the institutions surround themselves with, the naysayers, they giving them, pinpoint families against families, the brothers against the brothers, this type of thing. Some people, someone in the comment section said, no, it's William who did this thing. But maybe yes, I could say yes, because the jealousy that ingrained in him since child, yes, he probably did some stuff by himself. But many of these people, I told you, the UK is masterful at psychology. They may say certain things to him to trigger him to think something else and make him act on it. So to get back why I decided to pause to answer this part here while I'm editing, is that Harry, who is out, pretty much pushed out by his brother, and they put it in writing, having Simon Case to come in to get Harry out. And now there's Harry outside of the institution is working very well. He's doing very well on his own without the taxpayers.
To work together on bringing sustainable tourism to the mainstream. Today we are a $3 trillion coalition. Today we are a $3 trillion coalition.
So now This is the problem for the UK, not the UK, for the institution. Now, if they're arguing, oh, they need this, they need that. Now, perfect example, you push your brother out, he's making it on his own, therefore, you could do it on your own as well. I knew this was a setup. This is the thing that William did. He pretty much F himself. Harry and Meghan told them they were making a big mistake.
So in conclusion, if you'd had the support, you'd still be there?
Without question.
Yeah.
I'm sad that what's happened has happened, but I know and I'm comfortable knowing that we did everything that we could to make it work, and we did everything on the exit process the way that it should have been
with
done.
as much respect.
With as much
and,
respect.
Oh my God, we just did everything we could to protect them. Oh my God, we just did everything we could to protect them.
All the steps that we were seeing Harry making, which was probably very costly to him and very painful to the family, him and Meghan. And you see, we all know about the mental aspect of that with Meghan. They were trying to tell them, don't do that, because this is going to cost them in the long run. Now, they took Harry's security. Now, if they, oh my God, if they remove this from the institution, from William and the rest, guess what? There's Harry doing it on his own. Therefore, you should be able to do that on your own.
Today, we are a $3 trillion coalition.
Go make your own money, get your own security, get all of this. So pretty much, Harry is the model, is the blueprint. What you caused him, you thought it was good for him, therefore it's gonna be good for you as well. So this is what was playing out here. They played them so freaking badly. And this is why the court stick with what was on the paper.
Began to address Granny about the 5 options. Your Majesty, you've seen the 5 options? Yes, she said. Everyone assembled that, above all, I was desperate to keep security. That was what worried me most, my family's physical safety. I wanted to prevent a repeat of history. Barring that, they would only accept option 5. We discussed the 5 options for nearly an hour. At last, the bee got up and went round the table, handing out a draft of a statement the palace would soon be releasing, announcing implementation of option 5. Wait, I'm confused. You've already drafted a statement? Before any discussion? Announcing option 5? In other words, the fix was in this whole time? This summit was just for show? No answer.
They knew, they set the institution up. They set them up. Oh my God. Well, they told them, we're just gonna sit back and watch how this play out. This is gonna be very good to look at how this is gonna play out. They're not gonna go easily. Okay, Sir Keir Starmer is in favor of abolishing the House of Lords and replacing it with an elected assembly of the nations and region, but that will not happen before the next election. Labour's election manifesto called House of Lords reform long overdue and essential as the chamber is too large and many peers fail to serve democracy. That makes sense. As I'm reading this, the first thing that came to mind is what happened to Johnny Depp. What happened to Johnny Depp's case? Alright. Sir Tony Blair's Labour government reached a deal with the Tories to massively reduce the number of hereditary peers from around 800 to the current 92. Wow, they had 800? What were their roles? During the coalition government, an attempt by the Liberal Democrats to replace the House of Lords with an elected chamber collapsed after talks with conservative rebels fell. About half of hereditary peers still in the chamber are conservative, with the rest mainly independent crossbenchers and a small number of Labour and Liberal Democrats peers. On the conservative benches is Lord Attlee, grandson of Labour Prime Minister Clement Attlee. Viscount Stansgate, whose father, Tony Benn, re-announced his peerage to sit in the Commons, is one of 4 Labour's hereditary peers. The Duke of Wellington, whose great-great-great-grandfather defeated Napoleon at Waterloo in 1815, and Lord Ravensdale, the great-grandson of Oswald Mosley, who founded the British Union of Fascists in 1932, both sit at crossbench peers. The Earl Marshal and Lord Great Chamberlain had been expected to keep their seats due to ceremonial function and state occasion, but will also be removed under the plans. Most lords are entitled to a £342 daily. What? £342 daily allowance for each sitting day they attend, although they can choose not to claim it. Why are they giving them money just for sitting? This is why so many people going hungry. Okay, now I need to know, what do the lords do? Lords in the UK do. Okay, let me finish read it so I could go and look it up. £342 daily. Oh my God. Some receive a salary instead of including the Lord Speaker, who receive 106,000 plus £1,000. Okay, 106,363 pound. Okay, governance minister and the lords are entitled to ministerial salary external, which range from 66,000 pound. Oh my God, plus 106,000 pound plus, although the actual amount claimed is slightly below these figures. Oh my God. Okay, so let me look, what do they do? What do lords do in the UK? That's the question. Let's put today's year 2024. What do they do? What the lords does? Okay, making laws and death, considering a public policy, holding government to account, making laws. Members spent more than half. Okay, let's see. As the upper house of parliament, the House of Lords has many similar functions to the House of Commons. Okay, this has to do with the UK, so I will have to know what each one of them do, because I don't. Okay. It scrutinizes legislation, holds the government to account, and consider and report upon public policy. Peers may also seek to introduce legislation or propose amendments to bill. So they're up there. Are they the only one who could bring laws? So, okay, what do MPs do? Let me see. Because I thought it would be MPs, Member of Parliament. MP. What do MPs do? Well, the roles of British MPs. Their primary responsibility is to act in the national interest. They must also act in the interest of their constituent, where this does not override their primary responsibility. Finally, okay, what are their primary responsibilities? That's what I wanted to know. Finally, if they belong to a political party, they may act in the interest of that party, subordinate to the other two responsibilities. Okay, what are MPs' responsibilities? What are MPs' primary responsibilities? Let's remove there. Okay, what are the words? Is it the same thing that I just read? Yeah, it didn't really tell me. I thought they were the one, roles and responsibility. Maybe that one. I thought they were the one who bring laws, like similar to the US. You have one of them who bring a law or a bill, I would say, and then both chambers vote on it. The majority wins. If majority people vote for it, it becomes law or something, and then it's sent to the president. So this is where I'm a little bit confused with the UK. Okay, what other roles and responsibilities of MPs? Working in the parliament. Okay, working in the parliament, doing what? Members regularly speak either in support of or in opposition to a piece of legislation. In Parliament, members may also address constituent concern during debate, ask questions of ministers during question time, and work to create or amend laws. So it seems like, again, I'm brand new into this. I'm asking myself question, if I understand. It seems like the Lords bring bills to be voted on. They decide, the Lords, okay? The hereditary ones. They the one who bring laws. And then the MPs vote on it. Is that what I'm getting on it? Right? The Lords, hereditary, they get it from birth. They the one who could bring law on the table, and then the MPs vote on it, whether they agree with it or disagree, and then that will become law. I don't know. It seems like those hereditary people have control over there. So that's, I don't know. This is the way that I'm getting it. I'm not saying I got it right. So you guys could correct me on it. And I guess the MPs also, I guess, create laws, and which the thing says also amend laws as well. So, yeah. Alright, back to Twitter. I did finish with the article. So let's see. I fundamentally disagree with you. The whole concept of Lord is abhorrent. Agreed. The hereditary peers and the representatives of the church are abhorrent. Agreed. It has long been the ambition of bought and paid for politicians like Stormer to own the second chamber themselves. Again, if I understood how the law works in the UK, maybe I'll have more to say here. I'm just, you know, going with my opinion, and I don't even think my opinion is correct. Dismantle aristocratic nonsense, weakening royal family, way forward. I think so too. Royals next. Okay, at least Stormer administration is trying to implement some of the structural changes necessary for modernizing the mechanism of governance. Lots more to go. Miles to go over here in the US as well. Goals: tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay, the whole house needs to go. Thanks. Okay, if this is one of the things the Labours ran on, and then they got, well, the Tories were not doing too well, so people wanted to get out from their grip. So if Labours ran on that for the election that just happened, July 4th election, so maybe this is why they choose July 4th. They're coming for the royal family. Maybe that's why they choose July 4th. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me go to my last one. This has to do with Grenfell. I believe it's a video, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I did share that. I took a screenshot for you. I think the screenshot was taken somewhere here where they're leaving. But this is the video now. Okay, there will still be screenshot as I share it with you. Are there any comments? Okay, some MPs really don't give a shit that 72 people died in their homes because they were poor. Okay, I did a video. I think this is what, yeah, this video, I call it Grenfell Tower Fire, the Blame Game. All right, so this, I think it's like a hour and 30 minutes video. There's a lot of opinion. It's an article that I read, and I went on, I gave my opinion, I did this, and I put like warning, what do you call it, disclaimer, that I don't take whatever I said as form of advice or whatever I said in that video. So go watch this video. I spoke about it due to my experience in the construction industry, as you know, working under architects and engineers. I don't do that anymore. So this is making reference to the Grenfell fire. There were lots of empty seats. I was really quite shocked. There's the person here. Peston says he was surprised by how many MPs left the comments before the Prime Minister's statement on the Grenfell inquiry report. I did not read the inquiry. The article that I read made reference to the inquiry. If I ever come across the inquiry, I think it's a long page, but I'll take a look, or at least share the link with you. All right, so let's listen. 43 seconds. I'm sorry, there will be screenshot.
I mean, I was genuinely a bit upset, actually, when I looked at the chamber. Actually, vast numbers of MPs simply left after Prime Minister's questions. That was not, I thought for this statement, it would be bursting at the seams with MPs. It wasn't. There were lots and lots of empty seats there. And I was quite shocked by that, actually. Yeah. I mean, this was one of Grenfell, for I think anybody, who's not a child, was one of the defining moments in this country's history of the last 30 years. And I just assumed every MP would want to be here, be in the chamber to hear it, and they weren't.
Yeah, and not least because the families were there. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really quite shocking.
Very weird.
I mean, I was genuinely a bit upset.
So, you see, changes is not going to happen anytime soon. And also, in that video that I just showed you regarding the Grenfell, I made the reference that in the US, they have building departments, especially in New York. Before you do any construction from ground up, from foundation until you get your C of O, certificate of occupancy. There needs to be someone from the building department who checks every phases of the construction to make sure it follows rule of law, who follows the code, all sort of stuff. Local and government codes, even ADA codes and all of that. All right. So my question was, who were the inspectors? If the UK has, I think they do, has similar sort of things, who were the inspectors as the building was being built? Or if it was an existing building, or as they renovated, who were inspecting or checking on the architect, who was checking on the contractors, subcontractors, electrician, all these people, who were checking on them? And then the architect as well, supposed to check on the people who's doing the work and make sure that they follow his plan. So as much as we want to blame politicians and all of that, but this, in my humble opinion, falls with the inspectors. Okay, because politicians, most of them are not engineers, they're not architects, they don't know this type of things. But anyway, so I thought I shared that with you. Did I share the video? Yeah, I shared the video. Let's see here. You can listen to this week's full episode of Talking Politics on your favorite podcast. Okay, so this is that on YouTube. Tory benches were near empty. Shame, I expect, for voting through the regulation policies that led to Grenfell. Okay, walking out with the families watching. Classy. Incredible level of disrespect for the victims. They do not give a F. Yeah, I don't think they give a F. Alright, the House of Commons needs clacking in and clacking machine by the doors. Stormer, to his credit, has made an effort here. I think so too. And look who can see clearly how little the governing class cares about victims of disasters like these. Alright, disgraceful and disrespect behavior by MPs. Guess what? This might come back to haunt them if they don't take it serious. Because if these people, they love to cut corners when they're doing construction. So when they're doing their own construction, let's just hope they're not in a building that happen to be on things that they could have voted for to make sure it's safe and sound for people, and their deterrence to actually do something, to govern, to vote on things and listen, and where they could make changes, implement changes, hey, they turn around. So it's on them. It might come and bite them in the butt eventually. Alright, that was a time for them to learn something. Alright, my God, it's really sure how much does death means. Could it be because the people who died were mostly black and brown? I think so too, but death is death. The construction companies do things to cut corners and save money. At the end of the day, it affects everybody. It affects everybody. This is why there are rules and regulations that put in place. It doesn't matter who you are. That way you could follow it. So it's gonna come back and haunt them. This is the time where they should sit down and make the changes moving forward. Because you just never know where you're gonna be and where disaster might strike. Okay? The level of disrespect is shameful, and not even a thought for how this will portray them as ministers paid to serve their communities. I will be interested to see the list of those who walk away. People who's gonna vote should know about that. I was watching, I mean, then again, when election comes, they know how to change the subject to not look into that. I was watching PMQs live and was genuinely shocked to see how many MPs got up to leave the chamber just before the Prime Minister's statement. They don't care. They clearly missed the part where Prime Minister reminded the House it was the green benches who share some accountability for the incident. Yes and no, but are they new? What crossed my mind with this, when again, it has to do my lack of understanding the process in the UK. I know I'm gonna get comment to mind my own business or whatever. Yes, I could mind my own business, but I'm also interested in construction, and there are people in the UK who watch my videos, just my humble opinion. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not qualified to give advice. But the thing is that some of the people who are there now, there's probably some of, it doesn't matter what I'm thinking right now. They should care. They should care pretty much. Because in the long run, a bill or a law might come before them. They have to vote. So if they don't know every ins and out of it, how will they move forward to vote in a good way that will help the country? All right. Is this why the inquiry took 7 years and a possible 3 years for charges to be laid? Okay. AI MPs who left should be fined. Okay, just while more bankruptcy personify. This right here tells you why people don't have time for politicians. Politicians clearly don't have time for people. Well, the people should care. Alright, where is it here? People don't have time for politicians. Guess what? The people should have time for politicians, because the politicians are the one who's gonna vote on things that will affect the people. So this is where the people should pay attention to and see who in their communities that they voted for, who failed to sit down and listen to what's happening here. And then when it's time to vote, kick them off the curve. That's the way these things should run. They may have the upper hand now, but when it's time to vote, this is where you have the upper hand. I know it's just one vote, but one vote is one vote. They add up. It's almost like a penny. You count 10 pennies give you 10 cents, and millions give you more and more. All right, what is this? I'm done. Okay, I'm done with my list. Is this supposed to be the queen? Corgis are cute though. Yeah, that doesn't look like the queen at all. The dogs are the only one that looks exactly what it's supposed to look. That's supposed to be Philip. Oh, that doesn't look like the queen at all. Let's see what some people say. 5 comments. Okay, not sure about the queen, but Philip really looks like Matt Smith. Okay, there's the laugh here. He was the perfect casting for old Phil. That's terrible. They did Big little bit dirty. Where is this monstrosity? Antrim Castle Garden. Did this artist do this? Oh my god. Okay, so that's that. It doesn't look like the queen. But anyway, even a young queen, Queen Elizabeth, it doesn't look like her. So that's it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. And I will look into the membership thing that's going on with this channel. I don't know what happened. All right, so that's it.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
my life. You are all in this together. And if I may speak personally, we are all in this together. Because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.
We're going to come back to that in a little bit in terms of some of the efforts that you have around leaders in the military. But I want to ask you, you traveled the whole world in both your role, in your royal role. As you were going around the world, how did you get more focused on things that you cared about? I mean, we see a lot of pictures of you with children. You spent a year in Lesotho, right? And, you know, bring that to life for us.
I get all of my passion, inspiration, and energy from young people. And that is from the ages of 6 or 7 in the Caribbean, when you get a 6-year-old turning around to you and telling you exactly how much damage your country and the developed world is causing them, all the way to 28, 30-year-olds who, at some point in their life, have already a better understanding of duty and service than I ever did at that age, because it's all about giving back. So I think that, look, lots of people say that, oh, your job of traveling the world is wonderful. Of course it's wonderful, but when we get sent to some countries, we don't always get to see the beautiful parts. We're always there trying to deal with some of the issues, but also doing everything we can to bring people together to make change, to make positive change. And it's an absolute joy and a privilege to meet the younger generation of change makers across the world who genuinely believe in the fact that they, as a single person and as a group and as a community and as a nation, not only can change their country, but can change the world as well. And that is what keeps me going on a day-to-day basis.
So when a 6-year-old says to you that your country is ruining theirs, what do you do or say?
Agree with them slightly. Look, I mean, look, we all know the issues that are out there, you know, with the climate and the environmental issues. And I don't want to say it's refreshing, but it is nice to know that kids that young have an appreciation and understanding greater than some of the people who have been on this planet for 60, 70 years. So I think without credit, I mean, I've been a pessimist many times because of the work that we end up doing. You can be surrounded by negativity sometimes. But as I said just now, the younger generation of the world has turned me into an optimist, because they are the best connected, the most passionate generation that I think that we've ever had. And what we need to do is be able to create a platform so that they can be heard, because they have the solutions to some of the world's biggest problems.